Hey guys, this is Comic Uno and Comic Frontline, and today I'm doing Comic Uno episode 122, and that's the show where I review all the comics I read this week in one show. So let's get started. We got 23 books this week, so it's a pretty big week. So let's get started. We go worst pick of the week to best pick of the week. So what was worst pick of the week? Number 23 was Ringside, issue 1. So this is a new Image book that I kind of randomly got. It looked interesting. It's a wrestling book, but I'm not a big wrestling fan. But I was like, alright, let's give it a try. Again, it looked interesting from the description. And the reason I didn't love this book, honestly, is the artwork. I don't have the artwork in front of me, but it was very plain. It could have used a lot more detail. The story was okay. It was about this guy who is out of the wrestling game. He went to Japan for a while to be a coach, and it seems like he doesn't really have a career going. And then he finds this newbie that you might want to coach, and that's kind of what the story's going at. And there's some guns involved. So that's what the story's about. And yeah, it didn't really interest me that much. And again, the artwork really brought it down. Alright, so let's move on to number 22, which is another book I read digitally, and that is Grayson, issue 14. So yeah, Grayson, I really like Grayson when he is doing some more Batman stuff. I'm not a big fan of the espionage story, maybe because I'm just starting to jump in again, and I'm not really connecting the stories with this spider guy. I didn't really care. It was cool that he had kids. That was interesting that he wants them to take his legacy. But other than that, I didn't really care about the team trying to get him. And that's pretty much the issue, is him trying to get the spider guy, which I'm sure is relevant if you've been reading Grayson longer than I have. But it wasn't really relevant to me, and I'll give it a couple more issues. I'm reading it digitally, but this is not what I signed up for. I like the other issues when he went back to Gotham, but yeah, it's still the same kind of espionage stuff. So, which, I mean, that's what the series is. So, that's why I dropped it originally. So we'll see how long I'll keep it for. But that is number 22, and I gave that 2 stars. So moving on to number 21, which is S.H.I.E.L.D. issue 12. I will say there's some cute scenes in this issue. We get to see kind of a connection to issue 1 that the S.H.I.E.L.D. team is after Odin, and it's connected to Asgard stuff, and the Avengers are dead, and they take over the Avengers stuff, and they realize as they fight that the Avengers come back to life. So they actually use the Avengers gear, which I thought was very cool. That's the cool part of this issue, even though they're kind of dressed up very weirdly. I did like seeing, closer with the shield. I think Agent May was with the Iron Man gauntlet. So it was kind of cool to see all that. And the action was pretty good. But the story itself, I'm not really interested in the Asgard story with S.H.I.E.L.D. I wasn't interested within the first issue. So definitely was not interested in the last issue. But yeah, there's some cute scenes in it. But I don't think it's worth going out of your way to get this issue unless you're a big S.H.I.E.L.D. fan. So S.H.I.E.L.D. issue 12, I will give 2.5 stars. And that is number 21. So now we're moving on to number 20, which is Deathstroke, issue 12, which I'm either gonna drop or get digitally, because I'm kind of getting tired of the series, because there's this promise that I feel Slade, if Slade was by himself and kind of just with his children, the series would be so much better. But there's a pattern to this series. It's always that Deathstroke has to team up with somebody, and then in the end finds someone else to team up with. Every issue it ends that way, and I'm just getting so bored with that formula. And I feel like it's kind of an excuse for more people to pick up the book. It's like, oh, Harley Quinn's in this issue, you have to pick up Deathstroke. Oh my God, Catwoman's in this issue, you have to pick up Deathstroke. So I just want Deathstroke to be Deathstroke, and that's it, without teaming up with people. Deathstroke's kind of a loner character, so for him to team up with all these people for 12 issues, it's getting a little tiring. that this is his book, and it feels more like a Suicide Squad book. Like, I thought I was if you covered this up, if you covered this title up, I would be like, yeah, I read Suicide Squad, and Deathstroke kind of guest starred. It just does not feel like a Deathstroke book, and even though the artwork's pretty consistent, I do like Tony S. Daniels' artwork a little bit better, but this is definitely good artwork. It's just, like, comparing it to what we had. And I know Tony S. Daniels writing the book, but I like his artwork a little bit better than his writing for this series. So, Deathstroke issue 12, I might be dropping this. I might be reading it digitally. I'm definitely not getting this printed anymore, but I want to see, like, his relationship with Rose and Jericho. That's why I've stuck around for this series for so long, but there's so many books coming out, I might have to drop this series. So, Deathstroke issue 12 gets 2.5 stars. Again, I mean, what happens? He teams up with Harley Quinn, and in the end, Catwoman shows up. So it's, again, the same formula. Alright, so let's move on to number 19, which is Dark Knight 3, The Master Race. I think people are going to be surprised it's a bit lower, and people are going to be even more surprised when I say I've actually never read the Dark Knight graphic novel. I know I really should. I've never read the second one either, which I heard wasn't that great anyways, but I picked up the third issue to see if it was, or the third series, to see if it was new reader friendly, and I've been hearing a lot of buzz about it, so I decided to pick it up. And it is issue 1, so it should be able to get new readers to pick it up. It wasn't that new reader friendly, I will say. You definitely had to read the previous story to kind of understand what was going on. But this issue is definitely more, I guess, more female-driven here, because we see the daughter of Superman and Wonder Woman. We find out in the end of this issue that Carrie Kelly's been Batman this whole time, or at least for, the time being since Batman's been gone. So I thought that was a kind of cool twist. But I don't know. I think I would have been more connected to this story if I read the past stuff, but it was okay. I thought it was a, okay issue. It didn't, blow my mind, but I liked it for the most part. I'll probably pick up issue 2 to see where it goes. So Dark Knight 3, The Master Race, issue 1 gets 3 stars. That's number 19. Moving on to number 18, which is a digital book, or at least a book I read digitally, and that's Postal issue 8. I like this series for the most part. It's not like the best indie series in the world, and not a lot of people's talking about it, but I think the world's really original, and that's what I like about it. And with this issue, we find out Maggie, who is our Mark's love interest, she hates Mark's mom, and Mark's mom's kind of this leader of Eden, which is this place where all these bad people go and live, but they can't murder people, and there's a lot of murdering for a place that you can't murder people, and we're figuring out how corrupted Mark's mom is, and that's pretty much the story. And also kind of something that's interesting is that one of the FBI agents who's created Eden, his daughter is not, on the right track, and she's gonna live in Eden for a little while, so that's gonna be an interesting addition to Postal and to the Eden community. So I thought that was kind of a cool cliffhanger. A complaint I do have about the artwork of the series, that I don't like the shading so much in the issue. I like it more when you don't really get to see the lines as much, so the shading could be a little bit better. But overall, I thought this story was pretty good. It didn't blow my mind. It's a little bit forgettable, but I liked it for the most part. So Postal issue 8 gets 3 stars, and that is number 18, I think. I think we're up to number 17. Let's see. We are up to number 17, which is Silver Surfer issue 15. Now this is definitely a little bit lower than the series usually is. This is one of my favorite Dan Slott's series. I really do like Silver Surfer. I've never been a big Silver Surfer fan because there's so much cosmic stuff, but I think Dan Slott really is able to ground the series a lot. But I think this is more, the reason it's lower is because it's connected to Secret Wars, and that's been a complaint of mine, is the Secret Wars has lasted so long. It's going into 2016 now. It was a summer event. It should have ended in September. It should have ended before All New, All Different. I feel like a lot of these tie-ins don't matter as much because Secret Wars is over, and there's, something that even bugged me. It's a small thing, but there's part in the issue where, there's this, half Doctor Doom thing going on, and his face is being split up. And they say, to see how that happened, read Secret Wars issue 9. It's like, yeah, in 5 months when Secret Wars issue 9 comes out, I'll so read that. It's like, I hate the delays, and it really does bring you out of like these tie-ins that would have been really good if it came out like 3 months ago. So that is why it's a bit lower. But the story is pretty good. It's, you know, Dawn and Norrin, they go on kind of adventure to figure out how to recreate the world, what world they live in, realities. It's kind of, and also I would say the story's a bit all over the place, but in kind of a cool way. It's supposed to be all over the place. And there's some cool sarcasm with Dawn. One of my favorite panels is where we get to see Dawn. She has to make a decision of who, there's 2 Silver Surfers. She has to decide who is the real Silver Surfer. And she says, choose a surfer. Wait, what would happen to the other one? This is bananas. I can't even choose a different outfit. I can't do this. And it's hilarious because, obviously Dawn wears the same outfit every single issue. And even when you see her, like, hair grow, it's the same outfit. So I thought that was a really funny line. So there's some fun stuff in the issue. But again, I think something that really takes you out of it is the Secret Wars stuff. And I guess it's not really the issue's fault, but at the same time, it's here at this date, and it should have been here such a long time ago. So this was majorly delayed, and Silver Surfer issue 15 was fun, but maybe you would want to read this in trade instead and get a bit more enjoyment from it. So Silver Surfer issue 15 gets 3 stars for me. Alright, moving on to number 16, which is Batman and Robin, Eternal, issue 8. I like this story. I'm not as blown away with Batman and Robin Eternal as I know a lot of people, frontliners are really enjoying Batman and Robin Eternal, and I like it, but it's not something I kind of look forward to every week. It's just like, oh cool, Batman and Robin Eternal. It's not bad, but it's also, for me, not like the best series in the world. But this issue I liked. We get to learn a little bit more about Mother. The pacing is a little bit slow, and but what I liked about this issue a lot is the fighting, actually. I really like the action scenes, especially Cassandra's action scenes. Cassandra, I mean, some of the moves she makes throughout this issue, one that really impressed me is how she, I want to try finding it. She does this really cool, like, somersault thing, and the moves looked really cool in the issue. Let me see if I can find it. But yeah, other than that, you know, the action is just really good for the issue, and that's something I really enjoy. Oh, here it is. So, like, these moves over here, really, really like Cassandra's martial arts skills, and that's something I was really impressed with the issue. So the action stuff I really liked. The Mother stuff was okay. I still don't really know what direction that's going. It doesn't excite me as much as I wanted to, but overall, Batman and Robin Eternal issue 8 gets 3.5 stars. Not a bad issue, and we will see where it goes. Alright, so I think we're up to number 15 now. We are number 15. Now, this book is a little lower than it has been. This book has actually been in my top 5 for a couple months now. And that is Wonder Woman, issue 46. I thought this was a little bit of a slower issue. It's kind of dealing with Diana being the god of war, which is really what the whole arc is dealing with, but her not really wanting the position, but at the same time discovering her own definition of war, and you see the god of peace not being the god of peace, and she thinks she is, so that's kind of fun. And by the end of the issue, you kind of see that the gods are, you know, come back to life, and Donna comes back to life, and everything's good by the end. So, yeah, it's an issue to kind of fix everything, and I guess explore the character a bit. But I thought the exploration was a little long for me. Artwork is still, I think, really good. Again, I think it improves with every issue, the artwork for Wonder Woman. Some of the facial expressions could be a little bit better for Wonder Woman. But other than that, again, overall, I thought this was an okay issue. It's not the best from Wonder Woman. I do like the previous issues more in the concentration of Donna. This was a bit of a slower issue and a bit of like, hey, we need these people back. Let's bring them back type thing. But I'm really excited for next issue. We're going to see Cheetah come in versus Wonder Woman, so that's going to be fun, and we'll see what happens with Donna, too. So, Wonder Woman issue 46, I thought it was an okay issue, and I gave it 3.5 stars. Alright, so now we're up to number 14, I believe. We are up to number 14, which is Darth Vader, issue 13. So yes, I am picking up Vader Down. It's pretty easy to jump into, honestly. I've seen all the Star Wars movies now, so I'm happy to say that. And I've been trying to get into Star Wars because I could call myself a casual fan now. There's aspects of Star Wars I really do like, and I want to try getting into the comics. At least after this, I want to at least read Star Wars continuously. So anyways, with Darth Vader issue 13, we get to see that Luke's he has crashed, and now everyone in the rebellion's wondering, like, what happened to Luke? Is he, like, okay or not? So most of the issue is the hunt to try to find Luke, and in the end we see that Luke is alive, obviously, and he is tricked by Darth Vader's, I guess, helper, who also has, like, a C3, I always say this wrong, CP30. CP30 version of, like, her own version of CP30. Again, I have not read the other Darth Vader stuff, so it could be, like, an evil version of him, but it seems like it's just, like, their version. An evil version there. And then Luke kind of gets zapped in the end, and that is what's going on. And we'll see what happens to Luke and if he goes face to face with Darth Vader in this issue or not. And that's kind of what's going on. So what did I think of this issue? I thought it was pretty good. I like the artwork a lot more for this issue than I did with the Vader Down solo issue, like the one-shot issue. I like the story for the most part too. I liked the ending. I thought that was pretty cool. The conversation between Han and Leia was really good in this issue too. And yeah, like I said, it was pretty good issue. I mean, nothing too big happens in the issue, but I liked it more than the Vader Down one-shot. So Darth Vader issue 13 for me gets 3.5 stars. And I'm actually really excited to read the Star Wars issue because we get to see a really cool cover with Vader behind Leia. So that's going to hopefully be some cool interaction once we actually do go see that. So Darth Vader issue 13 for me gets 3.5 stars. Alright, so we are up to number 13, which is Superman Wonder Woman, issue 23, which I feel like they changed the story, because last time I read the solicits, it's supposed to be a road trip with Lana, Lois, and Wonder Woman. I was really looking forward to that. And then, like, they change it to, alright, let's bring in Wonder Woman and Superman. They're gonna fight Parasite instead, or at least team up with Parasite. So I don't know where they changed the story from. I feel like it was a week ago. They were just like, alright, you know, scratch that Lana story, scratch that Lois story. We're going to concentrate on Wonder Woman and Superman again. Which is understandable. I mean, it is their book. But I wanted to see that. I wanted to see those characters interact. It's something we really have not seen. Like, this we've seen before, but we have not seen that other story. And I would like to see that. Anyways, in this issue we get to see that Wonder Woman and Clark, or, you know, yeah, I guess we could call him Clark too. Anyways, Wonder Woman and Superman, they team up with Parasite, and it's what's happening in the issue. They have to see if they trust him or not, and obviously you can't trust Parasite, and you see if they're, you know, they end up betraying each other, if they don't betray each other, and the whole point is to try to actually find Firestorm. They don't know it's Firestorm, but they're trying to find this big energy. And it seems like Vandal Savage is in this issue too. So he's connected to all of, like, I think he's also in the Batman and Superman book, and the United book, so that's all being connected. I guess because of Legends of Tomorrow, they want more Vandal Savage. But yeah, overall, it's an okay issue. It's kind of a forgettable story. And again, I would have rathered the Wonder Woman, Lana, and Lois story more than this, but it's okay. And the artwork is, you know, okay too. The one scene I really did like, though, is when we get to see Wonder Woman gives a little bit of power to Parasite. I thought that was kind of a cool moment and a cool back and forth. So that whole scene was pretty good. So, like, the beginning half of the issue was definitely the best. Alright, so Superman Wonder Woman issue 23 gets 3.5 stars. And that is number 13. Moving on to number 12, which is Batman Arkham Knight, Robin Special, issue 1. Now, I usually don't get the Arkham Knight books because I don't play the game, so and also I'm getting so many Batman books, so I'm just like, I could not get one. So anyways, but I picked this up because I'm a big Tim Drake fan, and it seemed really interesting that, you know, talk about his school. I actually thought he was a lot younger here, but he's actually the teacher, which was really interesting. We just got to kind of see what Robin's place is in this world. Who is Robin? Like, what's his importance? And again, we see a little bit of Tim Drake's life. He's a teacher, and we see that his life kind of collides, where his students are in trouble, and he has to dress up as Robin to defeat, you know, these villains, which it's just kind of average villains there. he has to defeat them, and he does in the end. And again, you get to kind of see worlds collide, and again, what makes Robin different from Batman. So it's not a story we haven't seen. I mean, how many stories have we seen of, like, Robin, what makes him different from Batman? But it's still a really fun story, because something we haven't seen is Tim Drake as a teacher, and that was pretty cool. And yeah, it's always nice to see a bit more of Tim Drake. And the artwork was pretty good for the story, too. I enjoyed that. So overall, it's a, you know, okay issue. I'll give Batman Arkham Knight issue 1, or Robin Special issue 1, 3.5 stars, and it's also only $2.99, so that's definitely a plus. Alright, so what are we up to now? We are up to 11, which is Jupiter's Circle, Volume 1, Issue 1, which I wish is Jupiter's Legacy, because we just got Jupiter's Circle, but I like Legacy a bit more, but Jupiter's Circle is still a lot of fun. And one of my complaints of Jupiter's Circle in the last volume, I think it concentrated a little bit too much on the guy heroes. I was like, oh, I want to see more of, you know, the female heroes, what they're all about. And in this issue, we actually get to see a little bit more of that. We get to see our main hero, his girlfriend, and that he, you know, really loves her. He brings her to space, and she feels like the luckiest person in the world. She is able to have all these adventures, and that's kind of the exploration of their relationship. And then our other female hero, who's a lawyer, and for some reason, guys don't like her. And there's just like this kind of spell in a way where any time, like, she's gonna go out with a guy, or they just kind of turn around, and she's very lonely because of it. So hopefully we'll discover exactly what's making all these guys not like her. But that's pretty much the issue as a whole, and I liked it. I thought, you know, something different. Again, it was a different perspective than Jupiter's Circle usually takes. I really hope we don't fall in that cliche that the guy ends up cheating, you know, the male hero ends up cheating with his wife, or whatever, I guess girlfriend, with the other female hero. I'm like, literally that has happened in the series already, so hopefully that doesn't happen. But yeah, overall I thought it was a pretty solid issue. I gave this 3.5 stars. It was pretty good, and we'll see where it goes. I think I gave it 3. Yeah, I gave it 3.5. Alright, so moving on to number, I think 10. Yes, we're on number 10, which is American Vampire, issue 11. I love this series, or actually second cycle, issue 11. I love this series. I've been a big American Vampire fan, read all the trades, and then just started picking up the single issues, and it's a shame that second cycle is over, but we are going to get a third cycle. I'm pretty sure that's going to be the last, at least for now. And I'm curious to see where the story goes. And I like this issue overall. It's Pearl and Felicia teaming up when it seems like it's impossible to live, and they're able to defeat their enemies. And same goes to Skinner and Poole, where they're in space, and they've also been betrayed, and they have to figure out a way to survive. And the big cliffhanger is that because of this, you know, the fire and the atmosphere, when Skinner was trying to save Poole, he becomes human, and then Poole's like, alright, you know, you saved my life, I'll make you a vampire again. And Skinner can't become a vampire again. And that's going to be really, really fun to explore, because Skinner obviously does not want to be human. So I would say the least interesting story I thought was Poole and Skinner, but then that ending was so cool. It's a little bit of a slower story, which makes sense because this is the Cold War, so you're going to have a little bit more of a slower story. And it fits the time period, so I understand that. And it was really cool to see Felicia and Pearl's friendship grow, because that's been such a big part of this series, surprisingly. I mean, these two characters have always been so separate, and they haven't really liked each other, but they found solid ground and really admit to each other, is like, hey, we're really our only friends for each other. The only people we really trust are, you know, us, surprisingly Skinner and Poole. We're the only people that we can trust. So I like that idea. It's kind of cool to see this friendship. And yeah, overall I thought it was a good, okay ending. It was a little bit delayed, but really excited to see where third cycle goes and who they're going to concentrate on. Hopefully it's the same gang, because I really like that. Because sometimes American Vampire could go on and concentrate on other characters, and then you have to wait so long to, like, see Pearl, especially Pearl, because she's the main character, and to kind of see the other characters. But we'll see. So, American Vampire, second cycle, issue 11, gets 3.5 stars, and hopefully third cycle comes sooner or later, sometime in 2016. Yeah, 16. I was going to say 17. 2016. Alright, so let's move on to number 9, which is Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. Now, this is a book I kind of got on a whim. I was like, kind of like, should I get this book? Am I gonna like it? And overall, I did like it a lot. We get to see, we learn a little bit about our main character, who's Moon Girl. Her real name is Lunella. And, you know, she goes to a regular school. She's a bit too smart for them. And she's bored in school. And she wants to go to Future Foundation. And you see that the teachers are kind of mean-spirited. We all had one of those teachers. And the kids are a bit mean to her because she's different. You know, she's smarter than them. And now she finds this sphere. She brings it to school, and the coach is stupid enough. He's like, oh, this is like, you know, what is this? And he opens up a portal for Devil Dinosaur to come in, and Devil Dinosaur steals Lunella. So this is the start of their beautiful friendship. And I like this issue. I really like Lunella's story. I would say the negative of the issue was Devil Dinosaur's story. I thought was a little less interesting. The artwork could have been a little bit better for the cave people. I can show you that. I felt like it was a little bit on the cartoonier side for them. It could have been a little bit more detailed. But overall, this was a really fun story. I thought this issue was going to start off with their friendship and that they knew each other, but it's kind of cool that we learned a little bit about Lunella and actually see the formation of their friendship. So I'll definitely continue picking up the series. It surprised me, and I didn't expect to like it as much as I did. But Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur gets 3.5 stars, and I recommend if you try it out, especially if you have a kid. I would recommend you read it to them. I think it's kind of a cool kid book also. Alright, so moving on to number 8, which is Guardians of the Galaxy, issue 2. This is definitely more of a point A to point B issue. We learn a little bit about the last Kree member who's alive, and by the end he steals Star-Lord, or not Star-Lord anymore, just Peter. Kitty Star-Lord. Lady. Star Lady. They haven't really made that clear yet of what her name is in this book. They just call her Kitty anyways. But anyways, I like this issue because it's the fun interaction between the team. It's, even though not a lot happens story-wise, it's still fun to see, like, these characters interact with each other and see how much good chemistry they have. And the ending's pretty good, that Peter was kidnapped and, you know, seeing him get used to being the king of his people. So, yeah, overall, it's a solid story. I'll give Guardians of the Galaxy issue 2 4 stars. I liked it. Again, the plot could have been a little bit more in this issue, but the character stuff was fun. So, Guardians of the Galaxy issue 2, 4 stars. And that was number 8. Moving on to number 7, which is, right? Yeah. Alright, number 7, which is Silk, issue 1. I really liked the last volume of Silk. I thought it was, you know, really good. It surprised me how good it was because I wasn't expecting Silk to be such a good series. And I thought this was a solid start for the new volume because this was actually new reader friendly. Oh my god, new reader friendly for all new, all different. It explained what happened in the last volume pretty quickly. It wasn't boring for old readers because they bring something new to the table. But I do think that new readers will be able to understand what's going on in the story. They don't take too long to describe it. But here we get to see that Cindy is getting used to her new life. She gets a promotion. J. Jonah Jameson actually likes Silk and Cindy. And Cindy's trying to make the world not like Silk and show that she's a villain. Yeah, she's a bad guy, but really she's not. She's a mole. She's a mole for Black Cat, and I think we all saw that coming. And she's working with Mockingbird and S.H.I.E.L.D. To try to you know, work with Black Cat and see what's going on with the Goblin Nation at the same time. So that's what's going on with Silk. I could have used a little bit more of like the family stuff. That's kind of what I like a lot about Silk. Trying to find out more about her parents, what's going on with her brother. They could have, you know, talked a little bit more about that in this issue. But overall, it's kind of cool. I don't know how far this whole bad guy mole thing can go, but I liked it for the most part for this issue. So Silk issue 1, for me, gets 4 stars. And that is number 7. Moving on to number 6, which is Superman, Lois, and Clark, issue 2. This is a little bit delayed. Usually DC doesn't have delayed books. They're usually pretty good with that. Unlike Marvel recently with Secret Wars. But with this issue, we get to really see what I like the most about this issue is seeing Lois and and her son kind of connect, seeing their relationship, and, Lois and Clark trying to hide their identities, but at the same time trying to be who they are. Lois is still writing this book, keeping it a mystery, and that's why people are trying to get her in this issue, and Clark is still trying to save the world and keep it under wraps in a way, and under the radar, literally, in this issue. And Jonathan's starting to pick up on some stuff. He's like, what's going on? What are my parents hiding here? And he's really starting to pick up on that. It doesn't seem like he has any abilities right now, but maybe he'll probably start getting some abilities as the series goes on. I really like the artwork, too. I thought the artwork was really well done for this issue. And yeah, I thought it was really fun, especially just the family stuff. I like that there's a cool scene in the beginning of the issue where Lois actually started working for the local newspaper, and she had to start writing fluff pieces. You're like, oh, of course I don't like doing this, but, it's for the family, and, I enjoyed that part. So yeah, Lois and Clark issue 2 I thought was a very solid issue, and I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes. It's great to see this family back together. So that is number 6, and I gave that 4 stars. So moving on to number 5, which is All New Wolverine, issue 2. I had fun with this issue. I really like All New Wolverine so far. It's a cool story to see Laura figure out a little bit more about her clones, and that's really what this whole issue is about. She meets a lot of her clones here. It's actually a really fun scene where her clone's in her apartment, and she's so surprised that Laura's living such a mundane life. It's like, this is such a mundane apartment. Even your fridge is mundane. That mundane, half-drunken milk carton in the fridge. So I like that. And there was also a really cool scene where she says, oh yeah, and I burnt your bedroom on fire. She's like, what? And she runs in, and she realizes it's not on fire. But she smelled it because it was like a tray on fire. Like a plate on fire instead of like the whole bedroom on fire. But it also shows how much Laura likes this mundane life. She wants some sign of normalcy. That's something that she hasn't had. And it's her trying to figure out like who's right. Is it Alchemax? Should I team up with my clones? Is anyone really right here? Also something I really liked about this issue is like her ideal of death. The clones want to kill Alchemax. Alchemax doesn't even see the clones as people at all. And Laura keeps reminding them, it's like, they're not experiments, they're people. Because obviously she was in that same position. She was like, I wasn't an experiment, I'm a person, just like these people. Just like, my clones. So I like that. I thought that was really cool. And yeah, going back to the death thing, in the end she makes a big point of saying, don't kill these people. Don't, we don't want another death on our hand, because you know what happened to Logan, which is technically her father. She's done with death. She wants to protect people. That's what she's here for. So this is a very solid issue. I do think the first issue is a little bit better. I thought the structure was a little bit better, but still a very good issue, and can't wait to read more of All New Wolverine. So All New Wolverine issue 2 gets 4 stars. And that's number 5. Moving on to number 4, which is Black Magick, issue 2. I love the first issue of this series. This issue takes it a little bit slower, but we do learn a little bit more about Detective Black, learning more about her abilities, about how she lives life, and that she's trying to keep a secret to her police department what actually happened that night, because, it wouldn't be good that they found out that she was a witch, but at the same time trying to figure out who is this guy, why did they want to go against us? So it's unraveling that case a bit. We learn a little bit more about our partner, and it seems like they're really close friends, and she even knows his wife really well. I hope we have the twist of his wife being a witch also. That'd be kind of cool. Artwork's just magnificent, something that, made me fall in love with the series with issue 1. Still, loving in issue 2 is this gorgeous noir style artwork, and the noir style story also. But yeah, very solid issue. Again, it's a bit slower than the first one, but you definitely get some more character information and more information in general. So Black Magick issue 2 gets 4 stars. And that is number 4. Alright. Moving on to number 3, another book that I loved from Image that was also Pick of the Week during that week, and that is Switch, issue 2. Still really enjoying this book. It's based on Witchblade and Darkness, which I'm starting to get a little bit into Witchblade. Chris, Matt Vern Kids, actually gave me a couple of trades for me to read, which I'm really excited to read. So just looking more stuff about looking up more stuff about Witchblade after reading Switch and being so impressed by it. So I'm really excited to read that, and hopefully I'll be able to review that for Frontline. Maybe I'll make that a series after the Alias stuff. Anyway, so let's start talking about Switch. So here we get to actually see Sarah, who is the Witchblade holder in the original Witchblade series, but she's not a Witchblade here. She's just a police officer. And she's trying to uncover the case of what's going on with our main character, who has the Witchblade now, and literally tells the truth this hour. She's like, yeah, I saw a monster, I have this wristband, and, it's, you know, life is weird. So Sarah obviously does not believe this. Like, alright, yeah, she hit her head a little bit too hard. I'm not gonna, you know, talk to her right now. So she's trying to unravel her mind around all this, and we'll see what, you know, if Sarah's gonna be a bigger character in the story, especially, again, since in the original Witchblade series she did hold the Witchblade. This is a different universe, so you never know. So we get to see a little bit more of our main character's connection with her parents, with her brother. Her brother's scared of her because he actually saw what she became. But by the end, you know, say, I'm sorry I pushed you. I'm just scared. And he's like, you know, I'm scared too. And they kind of make up by the end. And then, you know, we see that everyone finds out about this in school, about what happened. And she has a lot of attention in school now, where she didn't have a lot of attention previously. And in the end, she meets this creature, and she's gonna have to fight it in the end. And she uses the Witchblade again, so she can control it a little bit now. And that's what's going on. She has to fight this creature, and we'll see if she's able to. And we get a little more information about that other, I guess, the villain of the story, and that what her crush or, you know, her old neighbor is connected to. So hopefully we'll get more story with that. So a slight negative, I would say, is that the neighbor's story, like, I don't really know where that's going, and there's a lot of exposition of, you know, explaining there. I think that could be a little bit more interesting, but I still really like our main character story, her journey getting the Witchblade. The artwork's really beautiful, really like the art style, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where this goes. It's a really cool journey so far, and Switch issue 2 gets 4 stars. I really like this issue. That's number 3. Alright, so what is number 2? Number 2 is a book that is usually not this high, but I was very impressed with, and that is Outcast issue 13. I really like this issue because finally we get to see it connected to Mark's personal life. Mark has to, you know, get the creature out of his sister. And it's this whole issue of literally just this action-packed issue of, you know, him grabbing her, trying to get the monster out, and her husband dying because of it. Gets flung out the window, and now his sister is, you know, doesn't have the demon in her anymore. But how when she finds out that she killed her husband and all this stuff is true? I think the best thing for the series is if she kind of joins the crew after this. Because I think one lackluster thing about the series is that I don't think the Priest and Mark have great chemistry, honestly. I don't think they kind of jump off each other very well. So if you add in the sister who, you know, already has good chemistry with Mark, I think it would make the team a little bit more entertaining. So I'm hoping after this experience she'll be like, I'm going to help you, Mark, because, you know, I just killed my husband. So I definitely need help. And also now we get to see the Devil character still, or at least talking to the sister's child, so that's gonna also give her some motivation to maybe team up with Mark and find out a little bit more about this world. But what I loved about this issue is the action-packedness of it, the twists and turns, the artwork's beautiful too. We really get to see the expressions, so I give this 4.5 stars. This is definitely like the best issue of this series so far. I was really surprised with it, so hopefully it continues on this streak for me to really enjoy Outcast. So Outcast issue 13 gets 4.5 stars, actually. So what is number 1? Number 1 is Archie, issue 4. Damn, I love this issue. This is so good. Finally, we find out what's going on with the lipstick incident. what is the lipstick incident? Let's find out. We find out why Betty and Archie break up. Because there's this beginning scene where obviously they've been best friends for a long time, and they've been going out since kindergarten, you know? So, they've been boyfriend and girlfriend for a very long time, and they have this fun moment. They're seeing fireworks in the sky, and, you know, Archie and Betty make this promise to each other, saying, we'll never change, and, you know, let's promise that we'll always stay the same. And obviously that promise is not going to last. People change all the time, especially in high school. That's the time of changing and figure out who you are. So in this issue, we see the incident that these girls try to take Betty in and try to glamorize her. You know, make her put makeup on, do her nails, do her eyebrows, and we see that process of these girls not being okay with who Betty is, but at the same time want Archie to like them, so they have to be nice to Betty. And they make her change her name and say, Betty is such an old person name. Name yourself Lizzie. That's awesome. And it's like, you can't like being a gearhead. That's not girly. You can't do that. So it's like telling Betty what she has to be, you know, to be socially acceptable. But, you know, she kind of listens, she kind of goes along with it, and, you know, she wants to look pretty for Archie, so she goes on a date, and Archie's like, who the hell are you? You know, like, what's going on here? And that's the lipstick incident, is that Archie says, like, why are you wearing this? And then he's like, you're different because of this. And then Betty takes the lipstick and draws it on Archie and says, well, you're wearing lipstick right now. Are you any different? And so that's what happens with the big fight, and that is the lipstick incident. That Betty changed herself, and I think it's definitely Betty more exploring herself. She's growing up a bit, but at the same time, that's not Betty. It's this ultra extreme Betty. But she's gonna find that balance, like we saw in I think it was issue 2, that she's like trying to find this balance of, yeah, I want to wear makeup. At the same time, I don't want to be different. I still want to be myself. I still want to be like this Tom girl who likes cars and, you know, likes being sporty. And she's trying to find this balance. She's trying to find her new self, which, you know, that's the journey of high school. And like I said, people change, and it's kind of realizing that. And can this friendship and even their romantic relationship last that? And now we go back to the present where Jughead and Betty's like, well, we need to, you know, figure out what's going on with Veronica and like figuring out who she is and like kind of eliminating her. And now Reggie's gonna help them out, which might not be the best plan, but we'll find out. But I love this issue. I thought it was really relatable. It was really down to earth, and it wasn't dramatized. It was just like very real, I thought. And even the artwork was, I thought, really well done. It's a different artist, but you really get used to it as it goes on, and it works for the story. Especially, again, that lipstick scene was great. Archie issue 4. This was a great issue, and I've been loving this series. It's been so good, and, you know, Mark Waid's been hitting it out of the park. Hopefully he stays on this series forever. But yeah, that was my pick of the week. Really enjoyed it. So hope you guys enjoyed. This is Comic Uno. Let me know in the comments below what was your pick of the week. Whatever. Pick of the week and worst pick of the week in the description below or in the comments below. So please let me know everything you enjoyed from this week of comics. And of course, I'll have Comic Uno episode 123 next week. Hope you guys enjoyed. This is Comic Uno. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter. Don't forget to like my Facebook page. Also, description below, there's links for my comic book, Like Father, Like Daughter. And don't forget to like the Facebook page of Like Father, Like Daughter. I'll see you guys later.